now is Mike Golic Jr. Hello, Mike. Listen, a lot to break, a lot to get into regarding the NFL world. We were going to talk March Madness, but we can't do that. There's too much madness in the NFL. Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, the era of the 2-1-4, as us Cowboy fans like to call it, the combination of Dak and Zeke has come to an end. I mean, what do you make of this? It's sad.
It is, and really what the Cowboys built so much of their identity around from the time of Zeke's drafting on was based around him, was based around that ground attack. In between the departure of Kellen Moore this offseason, who also has a long history with the Dallas Cowboys as a player and as a coach and a play caller, Ezekiel Elliott and a couple of others, it really does feel like the turning of a page. And what I know a lot of Cowboys fans were ready for Tony Pollard and what he had started to do in that backfield, the explosive potential. We all saw that there, but I think now with the hindsight of Zeke's contract no longer a part of Cowboys fans' problems, you can appreciate what he was and what he meant to this team for so many years.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the Cowboys and Liv, I know you know I'm an avid Cowboy fan. Listen, the offense was Ezekiel Elliott for many years. I mean, the run game was their secret weapon. That's why they have spent so much money, so many seasons drafting and developing that offensive line, was to go ahead and give Ezekiel Elliott those holes. And my God, in his prime, nobody could stop Ezekiel Elliott. And you slowly saw that start to dwindle. We have this conversation about running backs often, and Liv, you can start, and then Mike take that. And you start to see that teams are a little bit apprehensive to pay running backs Ezekiel Elliott type money because their longevity is not there. And it's starting to turn the tide more into a passing league, which is why you're investing in quarterbacks who can go ahead and not only run, but also throw that football. Liv, do you think we'll ever see a running back make Ezekiel Elliott type money in the near future?
Maybe. I think of guys like Saquon. There's a couple that come to the top of my head that are just so crucial for the offense. When you've got a guy like Danny Dimes, who just got paid more money than he probably should have for an average quarterback, you need a guy like Saquon Barkley to be the head of your offense. And I look even at this Cowboys team. I don't think anyone anticipated that Cooper Rush was going to be playing as many games as he did this season. When you don't trust his arm, guess what? You need to have a good ground game. And thankfully, that Cowboys ground game kept them afloat for that span of time that Cooper Rush was involved. Now, I'm going to give Cooper Rush a little bit of credit because he did what he needed to do. All right. Was he Dak Prescott? No, but he did what he needed to do. So I do think running backs, to me, at times are more important than the receivers that you have, because the receivers can't do their job without a great quarterback. And this quarterback position is tough. We see these injuries with them all the time. So I don't know. I think Ezekiel Elliott type of money is going to be, those are some rare breeds there, but we do have a few running backs in this league that I think the offenses absolutely need in order to survive. So we may see it a little bit. It won't be the norm though. That's for sure.
Yeah, $15-16 million a year is going to be tough to come by. Christian McCaffrey was the only other running back that we saw really approach those numbers. Even Derrick Henry, when it came time for him to cash in the second time around, wasn't necessarily in that same range, despite being a guy who was a back-to-back rushing champ in the last few years. I think the one to watch that'll tell us a lot about what the running back position is going to look like going forward is this situation with Austin Eckler and the Los Angeles Chargers. His camp asked to be able to receive permission to go seek a trade partner because they had stalled out trying to get deals there. Austin Eckler is right up there among the Christian McCaffreys as far as what the modern running back is, right? Over 100 catches in a season, a guy who's just as deadly as a receiver out of the backfield as he is a rushing threat. And for someone as young as he is, keeping an eye on what the market looks like will tell us a lot, because you guys both mentioned it. We've transitioned to a lot of a passing league, but we also watch defenses start to downsize because of that, get a lot smaller. And so what's the response been for this last couple of years, especially this year in the NFC? Teams like the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Eagles who represented in the Super Bowl, and even those New York Giants we talked about, all getting things down in tighter and leaning a little bit more on that ground game to try and beat up some of these smaller defenses. So I'd love to see that swing things back into the favor of running backs to get paid. But at this point, I don't know how hopeful I would be.
Listen, as a Broncos fan, I need the ground game. As you guys know, if it weren't for the ground game, man, I don't think I'll ever watch football again if we don't have a good ground game.
Listen, that's a different show, Liv. Before we switch gears and we gotta talk Aaron Rodgers. I want everybody to remember, yes, we've seen a decline in Zeke's, game, but we also have to remember he played through a lot of injuries because the offense was so heavily reliant on him for so many years. So I want people, before they get their jokes off and their tweets off and they say, oh, he hasn't been productive, think about why. He's a lot of miles are on Ezekiel Elliott in games that he probably shouldn't have played. So Zeke, thank you so much for everything. I got my 21 jersey in my closet, and I will still be rocking it come game day because you are forever a Cowboy. But switching gears to a guy who has everybody in a chokehold, as Liv likes to say, Aaron Rodgers. He was on Pat McAfee. He came out and gave us this whole soliloquy or, story about, what happened with the Packers, and he was going to retire. Now he's not going to retire, and he's on his way, allegedly, to the Jets. The Packers are holding it up. It's a soap opera. It's a saga. Mike, what do you make of this Aaron Rodgers situation?
Yeah, anyone who showed up to the announcement on the Pat McAfee show expecting this to be done in short time clearly does not know Aaron Rodgers, who was going to take all of that runway and make sure he told his entire story. And listen, I understand there are a lot of people that feel a certain type of way about Aaron Rodgers. Lord knows I do, for the immunization stuff, the way that he presented information, how he handled a lot of that in the public discourse. But what I'll say about this situation in particular is, if you remove how people feel about this particular player, I sort of love the idea of a player flipping the script in the PR battle with the team that he's getting ready to leave. We're watching in a different realm right now Lamar Jackson have to deal with what I'd imagine are the Baltimore Ravens camp putting out numbers about, hey, this is what he turned down. Look at this player. Look how much money we offered him, and he's not taking it. These are usually the tactics from organizations to try and paint players in a bad light. So what's Aaron Rodgers come out and do? Yeah, everyone's been blaming him for this holding up, and he's saying, no, the Packers are holding this up. They want compensation, which I can understand, but he's basically saying, hey, this isn't me. This is them. And there's part of me that appreciates there's a player that can sort of flip the script on the establishment a little bit.
Pointing the fingers, it's not me, it's this guy. Look this way. Before we let you go, Mike, I mean, listen, Aaron Rodgers is allegedly asking for all these pieces to go ahead and make his transition to the Jets. They already have an incredible defense over there, top 10 in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers implemented this offense with all the weapons that he's asking, or at least a big chunk of the weapons he's asking for. Is this a Super Bowl team next season?
I think so, and I think largely because of the defense. People are making jokes about Aaron Rodgers bringing over the same weapons that he complained about when he was with the Packers. I'd say Randall Cobb's a guy he's always trusted. They've already got, remember, the Jets, the first-round rookie talent that Aaron has always wanted, and Garrett Wilson, who was sensational for them last year with a rotating cast of quarterbacks. But I think the biggest difference is that Jets defense. We saw in year 2 under Rob Saleh, they took that step we all expected. And so now if Aaron can get the performance out of them that he didn't get from Green Bay last year, they are absolutely a team that's capable of making a deep postseason run in what should be a really competitive AFC East this season.
Listen, Jets fans, from Mike's lips to God's ears, the football God's ears, that is, may have a Super Bowl coming to New Jersey very, very soon. So I'm sure you're happy about that. It's been a long time coming. I don't know that. I'm a Cowboys fan. We have 5 of them things, but all I did. One more question. We have 1 more minute. Give me your championship matchup, March Madness. Who do you have?
Championship matchup for March Madness. I ended up going Kansas and Arizona, and I know it's not supposed to happen very often, but I rock with the Jayhawks on this one. Bill Self coming back for tournament time here. Glad that he's feeling better. Glad that he's able to make this trip. I'm going to roll with the Jayhawks and just prepare for my bracket to get lit on fire here in the next couple days anyway.
It's not March Madness if your bracket isn't busted in the first round, Mike. Thank
Exactly.
you so much.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.